Camilla Bentley gets into the front passenger seat. The next sequence is the silver Chevy Cruze. We all know who is in the silver Chevy Cruze. It is the defendant along with her good boyfriend, Isaiah Chance. They circle, they don't go to the right, they directly go by the cars of the victim and the victim's party. These are cars that they are very well familiar at this point. Because they have seen these cars at 2 other locations. They saw at Truth 18. It is not a coincidence that the silver Chevy Cruze followed them to this location and then Chevy Impala with the 3 armed and masked gunmen to get waiting for the come, and they directly look for the victim and the victim's vehicles. Again, State's Exhibit 20, that silver Chevy Impala with the defendant and her boyfriend circle around, and they are going to the exact area where the black Chevy Impala is. The second clip. After they have gone to where that black Chevy Impala is and the black Chevy Impala has parked, they then are now leaving, and they again are going for a direct line of sight where the victim and his friends are parked and sitting in their cars. State's Exhibit 22, you're going to see at this very moment, they can see where the victim is. That silver Chevy Cruze is passing where the victim is seated in that passenger seat. They are the eyes. They are the surveillance tracking team of this mission. And make no mistake, this is a mission. The 3 armed and masked men. 2 of the men are having assault rifles. Their faces are covered. One of them has all black. The other has a Glock with a switch that makes it a fully automatic gun and a weapon. You're going to see in this next clip that the first person to fire is the person with the firearm. And it's very clear what person they are shooting at, what person they are targeting. They are a passenger in the black Chevy Impala. They don't care about any of those other cars that flee and crash. In this next clip, the victim follow his car. They continue to fire. Months ago, survived. Two, they are heavily armed. They are prepared. They are masked. They brought artillery with them. They are ready to kill Charles Jones. They didn't just kill Charles Jones. When they came to Tampa and they shot up that parking lot, there were many victims. There were another victim in this crime. Camilla Bentley also shot, not in a gang. They didn't care who they hurt. They just wanted to kill Charles Jones. They weren't the only victims in this case. They shot up a hotel that had guests, that had families, that had people that were dropping off their children at University of South Florida, that is just across the street from Fowler Avenue, the other road that intersects McKinley where those hotels are. They shot up hotel rooms that had families in it, husband and wives and children. They didn't care who they hurt. Their focus was on Charles Jones, and they wanted to make sure that they killed him. In order to prove murder in the first, the judge just read to you what those instructions are. This is what the state has to prove: that Charles Jones is dead. That element, we only have to prove Charles Jones is dead. That has been proved beyond a reasonable doubt. The death was caused by the criminal act of Alicia Andrews. That has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. There is a mountain because she is a principal to this crime, and you treat her as if she had done everything her fellow co-defendants did. You put her in exactly the same shoes. She is criminally responsible for this particular case, and that there was a premeditated killing of Charles Jones. An act includes a series or related actions arising from and performed pursuant to a single design or purpose. Killing with premeditation is a killing after consciously deciding to do so. The decision must be present in the mind at the time of the killing. The law does not fix the exact period of time that must pass formation of the premeditated intent to kill and the killing. The period of time must be long enough to allow reflection by the defendant. The premeditated intent to kill must be formed before the killing. Premeditation can happen in seconds. They knew what sort of equipment they wanted. Not only did they have the type of weapon, they put those on the AR rifles, and none of the brass, none of the spent shell casings were left behind because they were collected. That is sophistication. That are people that planned to commit this crime and planned to get away with it. The question of premeditation is a question of fact to be determined by you as jurors. From the evidence, it will be sufficient proof of premeditation of the circumstances of a reasonable doubt of the existence of premeditation at the time of the killing. The proof in this case is overwhelming, and you can see it yourself. Those videos are on video for all of you to see it, and they stalked and they hunted that victim down in Florida. Here in Tampa. He posted where he was going to be on his Instagram. She follows his Instagram. She doesn't like him. It's clear from her messages that she does not like Charles Jones. Why in the world would she need to follow him? She follows his Instagram. And on Instagram, well before he came to Florida, over 7 days before he came, he is posting that he is going to be at Teasers on June 22nd between 8 and 3 a.m. He also posts that he is going to be, he is posting exactly where he is going to be, why they are coming to Tampa on June 22nd of 2024. That is the only reason that they are coming to Tampa, Airbnb. She does it on June 21st of 2024. She is trying to book the Airbnb. She's not the actual one that books it, because the co-defendant, Rashad Murphy, and clear that she is in the loop. It is clear that she is participating. She is the vehicle was a firearm. It was a 9mm, and it unloaded 31 shell casings onto the ground at that homicide scene where Charles Jones was murdered. And all of those shell casings were recovered. And you heard how 30 of them, they tried to get DNA off of them, were packaged specially and sent off to ATF. One of them was kept for Tampa Police Department to submit for analysis and comparison. And they did. They compared it to these two spent shell casings in the safe of Sean Gathrigh's house. And they are a ballistic match. You heard from Amara Drew. She testified that she compared both of those shell casings to the one that was found at the murder scene and retained by Tampa Police Department for testing. And the same firearm that fired those two shell casings that were ejected out of the 9mm are a match and ballistically identified to the same gun that was shot that you saw on that video, State's Exhibit 22, firing into the windshield of Charles Jones's car. You also heard about the spent shell casings that were recovered from Jacksonville, from the Toyota 4Runner of Sean Gathright. Remember all of those shell casings that were collected. State's Exhibit 50 and State's Exhibit 49A through I. Both of those shell casings were collected and submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Some were from the Toyota 4Runner in that box. Do you remember they retained from the Jacksonville 2023, October 7th, 2023, attempted murder of Charles Jones. And they compared those shell casings. And those shell casings, again, analyzed by Amara Drew, and they were matched, ballistically matched to the same firearm. They both were shot by the same assault rifle. The other part of the ballistic evidence that you heard about were the fragments that were recovered from the medical examiner's office. And they were sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to be compared against the two rifles, the two assault rifles that were collected in this case from that safe in Sean Gathwright's house. And what Amara Drew could tell you is from that fragment that one of them was found that